Welcome back with a new math tutorial. Our lesson today about the transformation in the exponential function. As we said before, we have three different types of the transformation. The first one is called translation, that we slide or moving the shape right and left, up and down. We know that we have a translation if we add or subtract to the parent function. The second type of the transformation is called reflection. In reflection, we flip the shape across the x-axis or across the y-axis. We know that we have reflection if you multiply the parent function by -1. For the dilation, it means you stretch or compress the graph if you multiply the parent function by a number more than 0. So the first type of the transformation is called translation. Suppose that the parent equation is y equals 2 to the power x. So if you have y equals 2 to the power x plus h, if you add or subtract any number to x, it means you are moving right or left. If you add h, it means you are moving to the left. But if you subtract, it means you are moving to the right. Now if you have y equals 2 to the power x plus or minus k. If you add k to the function or to the equation, it means you are moving up or down. By adding, you are moving up. By subtracting, you are moving down. For example, if you have y equals 2 to the power x plus 5. Now you add a number to x. It means you are moving 5 units to the left. But if we have y equals 2 to the power x minus 5. You subtract a number from x, it means you are moving 5 units to the right. If you have y equals 2 to the power x plus 5, because you add 5 to 2 to the power x, it means you are moving up 5 units. Now if you have y equals 2 to the power x minus 5, it means you are going down 5 units. The second type of the transformation is called reflection. In the reflection, suppose that we have a parent function y equals 2 to the power x. That's the parent equation. If you have y equals 2 to the power -x, in this case you multiply negative by x. It means you change the sign of x. Because you change the sign of x, it means the reflection will be on y-axis. But for the second case, y equals -2 to the power x. It means you multiply the function by negative. Because you multiply y by negative, it means the reflection will be on x-axis. So when you multiply x by negative, it means the reflection on y. When you multiply the function or y by negative, it means the reflection will be on x. The last one of the transformation is called dilation. Dilation, you multiply the equation by a. Now we have two cases. When you multiply a number more than 0 and less than 1, it means you multiply by a fraction. The graph will be compressed vertical and stretched horizontal. When you multiply a number more than 1, the graph will be stretched vertical and compressed horizontal. That is the main point. When you multiply any number by a fraction, the graph will be compressed vertical and stretched horizontal. The graph will become shorter and wider. But when you multiply by 1, the graph will be stretched vertical and compressed horizontal. Now for the first case, y is equals a multiplied by 2 to the power x, where a is greater than 0 and smaller than 1. Because you have here a greater than 0 and smaller than 1, it means it will be compressed vertical and stretch horizontal. But you multiply now by 2 to the power x. It means you multiply by y. Y, which is the vertical part. So I will ignore the horizontal part. It means it will be compressed vertical. Like when you have here y equals 1 over 5 multiplied by 2 to the power x. The graph now will be compressed vertical. Again for the second one. Y equals 2 to the power ax, where a is greater than 0 and is smaller than 1. We said when you multiply by a number more than 0 and less than 1, the graph will be compressed vertical and stretched horizontal. Because you multiply by x, it means you need the horizontal part. So ignore the vertical, it means you stretch horizontal. So y equals 2 to the power 1 over 5x. It means the graph now will be stretched horizontal. Number 3, y equals 2 to the power x, where a is greater than 1. Because a is greater than 1, the graph will be stretched vertically and compressed horizontal. But because now we multiplied by x, it means you need the horizontal part. So the graph will be compressed horizontal. For example, we have y equals 2 to the power 2x. If you have here y equals a multiplied by 2 to the power x, where a is greater than 1. When you multiply by a number more than 1, the graph will be stretched vertically and compressed horizontal. Because you multiplied by y, it means you need the vertical part. So ignore the horizontal, the graph will be stretched vertically. So we can say the transformation again. We have translation, reflection, and dilation. Translation if we add or subtract to the parent function. Reflection if you multiply by -1. Dilation if you multiply it by a number. So in this problem, we need to describe the transformation of each of the following. At the first, we have g of x equals 3 to the power -4x. Step number 1, we need to find the parent function. The parent function defined by f of x is equals 3 to the power x. If you find the difference between them, you multiply by negative and multiply by a number. It means we have two different types of transformation. Multiplying by negative, it means we have reflection. Multiplied by number, it means we have dilation. Because you multiply negative by x, it means reflection on y-axis. Because you multiply a number more than 1, it will be stretched vertically and compressed horizontally. You multiply by x, it means ignore the vertical part, it means we compressed horizontally. G of x equals 2 to the power -0.25x. At the first, we need to find the parent function, which f of x equals a number raised to the power x. That is the first one. We have two different types of the transformation. The first, you multiply by negative, which is reflection, and the second, you multiply by a number, which is dilation. Because you multiply by negative and this negative multiplied by x, it means the reflection will be on y-axis. You multiply by 0.25. 0.25, it means more than 0 and less than 1. Because you multiply by a number more than 0 and less than 1, it means you compressed vertical and stretch horizontal. You multiply by x, it means you need only the horizontal part, so ignore the vertical part. It means we are stretching horizontally. Q of x equals -1/5 multiplied by 3 to the power x. The parent function f of x equals 3 to the power x, a number raised to the power x. We have here a negative and multiplied by a number. Negative for the reflection, multiplying its mean for the dilation. Now for the reflection. You multiply negative by 3 to the power x because the negative in the front of 3 to the power x. Because you multiplied by the function, its mean you multiplied by y, so the reflection will be for x-axis. Dilation, you multiply by a number more than 0 and less than 1 because it's a fraction. So it will be compressed vertical and stretched horizontal. You multiply by the function itself, so ignore the horizontal part, it will be compressed vertical. Q of x equals -1.75 multiplied by 2 to the power x. The parent function, which is f of x, equals 2 to the power x. Now we have a negative and a number. So we have reflection and dilation. The negative multiplied by 2 to the power x, it means negative multiplied by the function, which is y. So we have reflection on x-axis. The number that we are multiplying is greater than 1, 1.75. It means we stretch vertical and compressed horizontal. Because you multiplied by the function, it means we need only the vertical part. So ignore the horizontal, so it will be stretched vertically. In this problem, we need to describe the transformation in the function g of x equals -3 multiplied by 2 to the power x minus 1 plus 5. So we need to compare the function after transformation with the parent function. So at the first, we have a negative. That is the first transformation. The second multiplied by a number. The third, subtracting from x. The fourth is adding to the function. It means we have two translation, one dilation, and one reflection. Step by step. At the first, look at x. So the first transformation for x, we have translation. Because you subtract 1 from x, it means we are moving 1 unit right. That is the first type of transformation. After that, look at the multiplication. You have a negative, it means we have reflection. Because you have a negative multiplied by the function, it means you change the sign of y, so the reflection will be on x-axis. So that's number 1, number 2. Number 3, you multiply a number by the function. It means we have dilation. Because you have a dilation, you multiply it by a number more than 1. It means you stretch it vertically and compress the horizontal. Now you multiply it by y or the function, it means you are looking to the vertical part, which is a stretch vertically. Number 4 and the last one, you add 5 to the function. It means we have translation 4 units up. So if you have more than one transformation according to the order of operation, we are solving the operation inside the brackets. The operation inside the bracket, which is the operation with x. So write all of the transformation with x at the first. After that, we are looking for multiplying or dividing. So look for the reflection and dilation. After that, we add or subtract. So look at the translation which affects y, which moving up or down. That will be the last one. In this problem, we need to describe the transformation in g of x, where negative multiplied by 3 over 4 all to the power x plus 5 minus 4, which is related to 3 over 4 to the power x. That's the parent function. That's after transformation. We need to compare between them. Step number 1, look at x. For x, you add 5. It means we have translation. Because you add 5, it means you have 5 units left. Step number 2, look if you have reflection or dilation by multiplying any number by the function. You have reflection because you multiplied by negative. Because you multiply negative by y, it means the reflection will be on x-axis. The last one, look if you have translation which affects y. If you add or subtract a number to the function, which is subtracting 4. Because you subtract 4, it means we have translation 4 units down. So again, one more time, we just look at x to find the translation if that's right or left, even if you have reflection or dilation. Then find if there is reflection or dilation by multiplying a number with a function. The last step, check if you have translation by adding or subtracting any number to the function itself, or to the parent function by adding or subtracting. That will be the last step. And that's all about the transformation in exponential function.